Today we're going to be preserving our tomato harvest. Let's go. The first step to your tomato harvest is getting your tomatoes freshly picked straight from the garden. Welcome back to Seed Time and Harvest. Today we are turning 25 pounds of fresh picked tomatoes into tomato sauce, and we're going to be canning whole tomatoes. I'm going to show you everything from cleaning, prepping the sauce, and how to safely can your tomatoes so you can enjoy that wonderful harvest all year round. For this batch, we're going to have 25 pounds of vine-ripe tomatoes, pink salt, lemon juice. Very important for you to add lemon juice. Tomato is a high acid food, and you need to add more acid for you to safely water bath can your tomatoes. We also have some more fresh ingredients from the garden like basil, oregano, parsley. We have onions and garlic. In addition to our fresh ingredients, there are some other items that we are going to need to successfully preserve our tomatoes. First of all, you are going to need your jar. For this recipe, we're going to be using our quart jar. I have my jars being sterilized in my water bath. You can use the oven, or you can simply put your jars in your water bath canner. Let me lift them out so you can see them. And they are heavy, being sterilized. Very important you have nice, clean jars. Every time you preserve, whether canning, pressure canning, water bath canning, always use new lids. You don't want to use lids that have the seal already broken. Canning lids, very inexpensive, so pick up a pack of canning lids. You're going to need rings to secure your lids to your jar. You're going to need measuring spoons because you will need 1 teaspoon of lemon juice and a half teaspoon of salt. Okay, we're going to need our ladle. We're going to need a jar lifter. Your jars are very hot, deep in water. You will not want to use your hand to lift those jars out. You'll also need a funnel to funnel your sauce into your jar. And finally, you are going to need a head spacer. For water bath canning, you can use any pot whatsoever as long as you have an inch head space above your jar once you put it in the water. We want to make sure our tomatoes are nice and clean. Mine have already been pre-washed. You want to remove any tomato that's bruised, any tomato that's damaged. Keep them out of your preservation batch. I'm going to put a small X on the bottom of each tomato. That's going to make it easier to peel after blanching. Tomatoes are all scored. Now we're going to get them into our pot of boiling water. Blanching is very important, especially when making tomato sauce, because you don't want that skin feel. So we're just going to get our tomatoes and submerge them in our pot of boiling water as quickly and safely as you possibly can. You want to blanch your tomatoes for about 30 to 60 seconds. Our blanch time is up. We're going to get the tomatoes out the hot water and into ice water. This is what blanched tomato looks like. So we're going to put the ice in there to cool them down so that it's easier to peel. Ice, and we're going to add water to this. You have to move really quick because you don't want your tomato absorbing all the extra water. So you just simply get your tomato and look at how easy the skin comes off. This is the end result of our tomato after they have been blanched and peeled. And you can see the tomatoes have already begun to spring water. You can choose to omit the water as you blend or add it to your sauce. It's just going to take a little bit more time to reduce. And we also have 4 onions chopped, 2 elephant garlic, and our herbs. Again, we have basil, oregano, and parsley. These are all optional, but if you like a good flavored tomato sauce, you want to make sure you add these. The salt and the lemon juice, we're going to get those in later. Now we're going to get everything in the blender. Let's get our tomatoes blended. And they're really soft, so you don't need to blend much. And we're going to pour these into our big pot. Looks like some good tomato juice. We blended all our tomatoes. They are now in our saucepan. I'm gonna simmer until it's close to halfway down. That can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and we'll bring you back when it gets to that point. Our sauce has been reducing for almost an hour, and I'm not sure if you can see, but it's almost halfway down and it's starting to get really thick. That's what you're looking for. If you want it to be thicker, you can add organic tomato paste. But for us, we are going to get our jars canned. Now for the moment we've been waiting for. Time to pack our jars. I'm gonna be using the hot pack method, all right? Our sauce is hot. The jars are hot. You wanna make sure you're not putting your jars on a cold surface to avoid them cracking, hence the towel. We're gonna repeat this step about 7 times until all our jars are filled. What we're going to do is just lift up your canning rack. It makes it a lot easier when you're packing your jars. You have your jar lifter. Our jars are nicely sterilized. We're gonna dump out this water. All right, dump out all the water there. You don't need any extra water. We are going to be packing our jars with our tomato sauce. I'm gonna bring my pot a little bit closer to me. And very simple, we're going to ladle our tomato sauce in, and we're gonna leave an inch of headspace. I just look for the rim on the top of the jar, and that's where I'm going to ladle my tomato sauce to. Once I'm done, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, and I have both lemon juice and citric acid. You can use whichever you choose. For citric acid, it's half of a teaspoon. For lemon juice, it's 2 tablespoons per quart. And don't mind the white on the outside of the jar. Once we're done packing, we're gonna get that all cleaned. Again, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice per jar. Lemon juice does make it tart. Later on, you can add sweetener to counter the tartness. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon salt. You don't have to worry about mixing that. You wanna make sure that you clean the rim of your jar. Make sure there's no barrier between your seal. Your rim is nice and clean. And we're gonna get our lid and put it on our jar and finger tight with our ring. You don't wanna make it too tight because you will remove that ring later. You're gonna lift your jar and put it back in your water bath. Our final jar is in. Now we are going to set this in our water bath. And again, we need a 1/2 inch headspace. So I'm gonna get my headspace tool. And I can tell I don't have a 1/2 inch. That's where it's gonna be. So I'm going to fill it up with hot water. Our headspace between 1/2 inch to 1 inch is necessary because a lot of the water is going to evaporate and you need that space for the sealing process to take place. The next step is to get our canner to a rolling boil. Once we've achieved a rolling boil, you are going to set your timer for about 40 minutes. If your elevation is over 1,000 feet, you will add another 5 minutes to that. Our timer, however, does not start counting until we are at a rolling boil. So I will see you once our timer goes out. Our timer went off. That means our 40 minutes is up. I can go ahead and turn my fire off. What I'm gonna do next is very important. We are gently going to lift our jars out of the water bath canner and put them on our cloth right here. Again, we're not putting them on a cold surface. No, make sure it's room temperature, all right? And it's really bubbling. Very important step. You wanna just lift your jar out of your water bath canner and put them on your towel. Do that for all the jars. At this point, they may not be sealed as yet. Over the next 24-hour waiting period, what you're gonna listen for is a pop. Simple pop. When you hear that pop, you'll be very happy. You'll be like, yay! Our tomato sauce is preserved and I just heard a pop. Did you hear that? It's now ready to sit on my shelf for up to a year. You are not gonna tilt your jar. You're not going to try to clean them. At this point, you are just going to let them rest, let them get sealed. After 24 hours, what you're going to do, you're going to get your lid and press on it. If your lid flexes, that means your jar did not seal. Put this in the refrigerator for use right away or sometime soon. You want to gently feel the lid. If it doesn't completely come off immediately, then that means you are sealed. It does not flex back. You have a good tomato sauce. There's nothing quite like seeing a shelf full of tomato sauce made straight from your own garden. It takes a little time, but the flavor is well worth it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more gardening, preserving tips, and leave a comment below letting me know what you like to make with homemade tomato sauce. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!